There is a specific midnight prayer, a focused act of spiritual intention, designed to systematically dismantle the unseen patterns and negative legacies passed down through generations. This isn't just about wishing for change, it's about a precise, intentional engagement during a powerful hour to confront and sever those inherited struggles that hold you back. Have you ever found yourself in a situation, making choices, or facing consequences that feel eerily familiar, almost preordained, as if you're playing out a script written long before you were born? Maybe it's a persistent financial struggle, a cycle of failed relationships, an unexplained health issue, or a battle with depression that seems to run in your family like a river. This feeling, this sense of being caught in a relentless loop, is often the first whisper of what many call a generational curse. It's not necessarily some dark magic. It's more accurately described as an entrenched pattern of negative behaviors, beliefs, and consequences that echo through a family line, impacting each successive member. The question then becomes, can such a deeply ingrained pattern truly be broken? And if so, why midnight? The answer lies in understanding both the spiritual significance of that hour and its profound psychological impact on our conscious and subconscious minds. Midnight is not just a time, it's a threshold. It's the moment when one day ends and another begins, a natural point of transition and a widely recognized time of heightened spiritual activity across countless traditions and cultures. Think of it as a period of profound quiet, a cessation of the world's daily clamor, creating a unique space for deep introspection and focused spiritual work. When the world outside falls silent, the inner world often speaks loudest. The distractions of the day, the demands of work, family, and social obligations all recede. This absence of external noise allows for an unparalleled level of concentration, a direct channel to your deepest intentions and the spiritual realm. It's during these hours, when the veil between the seen and unseen seems thinnest, that deliberate, focused prayer can have an amplified effect. It's about choosing to stand guard over your destiny at the very hour when the universe seems to hold its breath. So, what does this midnight prayer entail? It's not a generic plea. It begins with a deep, honest self-reflection, acknowledging any personal complicity in these inherited patterns. This isn't about blaming yourself for the actions of your ancestors, but recognizing how you might have, knowingly or unknowingly, perpetuated certain negative cycles. It requires a sincere confession of personal sin and a repentance for those choices, understanding that these personal actions can reinforce the very patterns you seek to break. This step is crucial because it aligns your will with a desire for genuine change, demonstrating your readiness to step out of the inherited script. After this personal alignment, the prayer moves into a phase of direct renunciation. This is where you specifically identify the curses or negative patterns you wish to sever. Maybe it's the curse of poverty that haunted your grandparents, then your parents, and now seems to be circling you. Perhaps it's the spirit of addiction that has ravaged multiple branches of your family tree. You verbally, decisively, and with full intention, renounce these patterns, rejecting their claim over your life and the lives of your descendants. This isn't merely thinking about it. It's speaking it aloud, giving voice to your firm resolve in the quiet of the night. Think of it like drawing a line in the sand, a powerful declaration that says, "Here, this pattern ends with me." It's an act of spiritual defiance, an assertion of your free will against what might feel like an invisible current pulling you backwards. This renunciation isn't a passive request. It's an active, authoritative decree. You are choosing to step out of the legacy of struggle and into a new inheritance of blessing. But how do you know what specific patterns to name? What if you can't articulate the exact nature of the curse? This is where intuition and observation become your guides. Look at the recurring themes in your family history. Are there repeated divorces, unexplained illnesses, a consistent lack of joy or pervasive anxiety? Sometimes, these patterns are so deeply embedded they feel normal, just the way things are in your family. But when you observe them with intention, you begin to see the threads. You don't need a specific word or theological term. You simply need to identify the recurring negative outcomes. You can say, I renounce every pattern of financial lack that has plagued my family. Or, I break every cycle of broken relationships that has followed my lineage. The specificity comes from honest observation. Following the renunciation comes the powerful declaration of a new reality. This isn't just about removing the old, it's about actively installing the new. You declare blessings, health, prosperity, peace, and loving relationships over yourself and your future generations. This is not wishful thinking. It's an act of faith, speaking into existence the reality you desire, believing that as you sever the old, you open pathways for the new to flourish. It's like clearing out an old, overgrown garden, and then planting fresh, vibrant seeds. You're not just hoping for a harvest, you're actively preparing the ground for it. Consider the story of a young man named Michael. His family had a long history of substance abuse, with both his father and grandfather succumbing to alcoholism. Michael himself found himself falling into the same trap in his early 20s. He felt trapped, as if his destiny was predetermined. One night, after hitting rock bottom, he remembered hearing about this midnight prayer. He felt a deep urge to try, almost out of desperation. In the quiet of his room, he confessed his own struggles, repented for choices that reinforced the cycle, and then, with tears streaming down his face, he renounced the spirit of addiction that had plagued his family. He declared sobriety, freedom, and a new legacy for his children. Did everything change overnight? No. But a profound shift occurred within him. He found the strength to seek help, to make different choices, and slowly, painstakingly, he began to walk a new path, ultimately becoming the first man in 3 generations of his family to overcome that specific battle. Michael's story illustrates a critical point. This prayer isn't a magical incantation that instantaneously erases all challenges. Instead, it's a profound spiritual and psychological reset. By engaging in such a focused act of will and faith at a time of deep personal quiet, you are, in essence, rewiring your brain's pathways and aligning your spirit with a new narrative. You are actively choosing a different destiny, and that choice, when consistently and sincerely made, begins to manifest in your reality. It changes the way you perceive opportunities, how you respond to challenges, and ultimately, the actions you take. Why is consistency so important here? Because generational patterns are deeply ingrained, often spanning decades, even centuries. One powerful prayer is a monumental step, but ongoing dedication reinforces the new trajectory. Imagine trying to change the course of a massive ship. It takes sustained effort, not just one turn of the wheel. Similarly, persistently declaring your freedom and new reality helps to solidify the break, reinforcing your new identity, and ensuring the old patterns lose their grip. It's about building a new spiritual muscle. Some might wonder about the psychological underpinnings of this. When we speak of generational curses, we're not just talking about abstract spiritual forces. We're also acknowledging the very real impact of inherited trauma, learned behaviors, and epigenetic changes that can be passed down through DNA. Our ancestors' experiences, their fears, their coping mechanisms can subtly influence our own predispositions. By consciously and intentionally engaging in a ritual of renunciation and declaration, particularly in a state of focused, meditative prayer, you are actively disrupting these patterns at a psychological and spiritual level. You're signaling to your subconscious and to the universe that you are choosing a different path. This isn't about blaming your ancestors, nor is it about believing in some dark, malevolent force explicitly wishing you ill. It's about recognizing that negative patterns, whether self-inflicted or inherited, create a kind of spiritual and energetic inertia. Breaking free means creating a new, positive inertia. It means choosing conscious creation over unconscious perpetuation. The midnight hour, with its stillness and profound quiet, becomes the perfect incubator for this new creation. It's the sacred space where you can clearly hear the whispers of your own spirit, distinct from the echoes of the past. But what happens after you pray? How do you know if it worked? The evidence isn't always dramatic or immediate. Often, it begins subtly. You might find yourself reacting differently to situations that previously triggered familiar negative responses. Opportunities that seemed to bypass your family might suddenly appear. There might be a feeling of lightness, a reduction in the inexplicable burdens you once carried. It's like a slow, steady clearing of a dense fog. You don't necessarily see the fog disappear all at once, but gradually, the path ahead becomes clearer, the air feels fresher, and the sun begins to break through. This prayer requires a deep faith, not just in a higher power, but in your own capacity for transformation. It requires courage to look honestly at the shadows in your family line and declare that those shadows will not define your future. It's an act of self-liberation, a reclaiming of your inherent spiritual authority. You are not a victim of your past, you are the architect of your future. And in the profound quiet of midnight, you lay down the blueprints for that new destiny. Is there a specific script or formula for the words? While the general structure involves confession, repentance, renunciation, and declaration, the beauty and power of this prayer lie in its sincerity and personalization. It's not about reciting words perfectly. It's about speaking from the heart, naming the patterns as you perceive them, and expressing your genuine desire for freedom. You can articulate it in your own language, using terms that resonate most deeply with you. The power isn't in the specific phrasing, but in the focused intention and the unwavering belief behind it. The midnight hour, often associated with mystery and the unknown, here becomes a sanctuary of certainty and resolve. It's a time to stand firm against whatever unseen forces or ingrained patterns might seek to keep you bound. It is a moment of profound personal revolution, enacted in the quiet stillness, with only your voice and your intention echoing in the hallowed space between yesterday and tomorrow. It's about taking hold of your inheritance, not as a recipient of struggles, but as a pioneer of blessings. This prayer, therefore, is more than just a plea. It is an active engagement in shaping your destiny. It requires courage to face the past, humility to acknowledge your part, and unwavering faith to declare a new future. It's a call to arms for your soul, initiated in the quiet darkness and destined to bring light to generations to come. When you engage in this midnight prayer, you're not just praying for yourself. You're reshaping the very fabric of your family's future, ensuring that the legacy you leave behind is one of freedom, blessing, and unbound potential. It's a declaration that the cycle stops here, and a new, more hopeful narrative begins now.